Oh yeah, I'm pretty good. I can walk around all right. Being as I'm 100. Yeah, I've had some cards. Yeah, I've had some cards. I don't run, but I walk pretty fast. No, I'm pretty... Oh yeah, I've got a coffee stick here. Oh, I won't do without that. Yeah, there's my stick. That's an Australian stick, and my grandson bought me that. Yeah, that's my Australian cane, yeah. I was born in Woolwich, North Woolwich. Yeah. I was brought up on the Thames. I learnt to swim in the Thames, Barge House, Woolwich. Yeah, oh yes, I learnt to swim in the Thames. And I had to do 50 yards in the Port of London, otherwise if I didn't do it in the 3 years, I was thrown out. But of course I done two lengths of the baths, by little 3 baths, and the man who was there, he was a man from the Port of London Authority when I was a messenger boy in the dock, the Elva dock, and of course I'd done the 2 lengths of the bars. I was all right. When the war broke and I was called up in the Territorials, and this O'Connell went to my mother in Woolwich and wanted to know where I was, so she said, well, if you want him, he's over in Woolwich. I was already in the Territorials. I'd done 2 camps before the war. I was Salisbury Plain and Northumberland. As a fact, up in Northumberland, I was only home a fortnight when the war broke out. To board camp, and of course my mother come and see us off. Yeah, we was off to France. The funny thing about it, Maureen, a mate of mine, he said, when we go over the other side, he said, don't get alarmed. He said, you'll think it's perhaps a submarine blocking us or something. He said, the anchor go down. So when we were out in Calais in France, so the anchor went down. Of course, it makes a hell of a noise. And our horses were all undercover in mid-deck. Of course, they walked down into mid-deck. All our horses were all undercover in mid-deck. So, of course, we landed out there. Didn't take us long to travel up the country, so we landed over in Calais. That's Mum coming in. Oh yeah, we travelled across places we stopped at, I couldn't tell you. But we always had to be there when the Germans was going to break through. We all seemed to know, but anyway, we travelled about 30 mile, 40 mile up by road. 6 guns in our battery, B battery. There's A and B battery, A, B and C. That's travel together. Of course, we used to travel up the roads in different places, you know. But we were never together. We was the B battery. We may be in one place and A in another and B in another. Sort of called where the Germans were going to break through. I was 18 then. When I was 18, I mean, I was already in the Territorials when I was called up. I was in the Territorials, I think, when I was about 16. I done my training over at Woolwich. The regulars over there Saturday afternoon, we used to go over there, give them a couple of shillings. We used to do all the regular training over at Woolwich, West Square Woolwich, with the regular army. Yeah, so I'd done 2 camps before the war, 1914 on Salisbury Plain, and no, 1913 on Salisbury Plain, 1914 on Northumberland. I was up in Northumberland, and it was only over a fortnight when the war broke out, 1914. And of course I was already fully trained then, so of course I was straight over Woolwich. When they wanted, my chap came round to my mother, wanted to know where I was, because I was in the old, what the Port of London, it was the old London dock really. That was when my father was in the old London dock. But then of course it was Port of London Authority over the latter years, and when I was a messenger it was the Port of London Authority. So I was a messenger in the Old Dock. I used to be telegraphy. So in part-time he wasn't with me, my oldest brother. Of course he's dead now. Died about 4 years ago. No, well, his name was Wallace. Well, he was with me, but he was, yeah, then of course he went to the transporters. He transferred to the transporters, and he nearly got killed in the transporters. Although he came home, he's been dead a few years now, but he came home after the war with me, same as me. And He lived in Boston Woods. When the Germans were breaking through, we had to be there. Might be 40-mile march up and down the coast in France and Belgium. That's where we're going over there now. Oh no, the Germans, of course, we used to have to hold them back because they used to break through now and again, you know, but we were always there and drove them back out of it. But they don't never actually break through a Balliol and them places. Oh no, we used to hold them back. Very a driver. I didn't do any driving. I didn't do any gun drill or anything like that. All I used to do was hook on and off it, you know. I had the limber behind me, so we used to. I had the ammunition in the limber, 76 rounds. We used to unload that. Us drivers used to unload that. Another thing we had to do. We had to dig with gun pits. Yeah, we had to dig when we were going into action. If we were going to a certain place, we used to have to dig a gun pit. Nearly as big as this, to gun to fit in, with a hole in front of it. But that was our job, digging the gun pits and all that sort of thing. You look after your 2 horses. I was officer's groom for 16 months. I had 3 horses. That was two horses for the army, for the officers, and I had my own horse. I had 3 horses to look after. So I had a busy job. Yeah, pre-war days. That was just before the war. Before we went out to France and that, I had 3 horses, and of course when I went out to, when we were over in France, I took my pair of horses over. So the army had to find somebody else, because I said to Sergeant Major Bishop, I said I want my horses back. I said I'm not having any more of this. I said 3 horses. So I went direct driving again. That's me, what they call the off horse. That's the rider and the off horse. So I had them 2 with a limber behind me. Yeah, Freddie Weller, I've got a photo of me somewhere. Freddie Weller, my lead driver, he got killed while I was home on leave. And that was the last time I saw him. He took me on leave, and we were single, what they call a single mount. He had a mount and I had a mount. He took me on leave, and he was killed while I was home on leave. I think it's in France, yeah. So we may find his driver. Oh, well, he was only 18 them days. 18 to 20, he was nearly the same age as me. And if I had been home on leave, I reckon I'd have been killed with him, because he was killed. Well, I don't know, he may have stopped a shell. You know, yeah, he may have stopped a shell.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Pour le souvenir de Freddie Weller, mort en combat, et que son ami Bill vient saluer aujourd'hui, je vous demande à tous une minute de recueillement. Je vous remercie.
Et le dépôt des germes? Shall I do it for you? Or?
Yeah, you do it for me. I don't want just a full down and horse stand too long. That's it. I'm glad you done that. I'll be here to do it.
Put your, all right, hold on. Put your stick in the other hand. There, put your stick in the other hand. You're okay. All right, stand up straight. You're okay. Now give Freddie a good old salute like you did in the old days.
Aye?
Give him a salute like you did in the old days.
Yeah.
Go on. Hold your hand up to him. Give him a salute.
grave.
Fancy seeing his grave after all this time.
Yeah, lovely. It is. I'm glad to see
Absolutely
that.
marvellous, you know.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be
Happy birthday, dear Phil.
Happy birthday to you, Phil. Happy birthday to you.
But well, him and I used to keep down together beside a wall or anything like that. If there was a wall in the church, we used to pack down beside and make a little bivvy, covered us up each side, you know. They built our little bivvy, we used to pack down. Of course, you never took any clothes off them days. You was always ready to move off right away. You always sleep in your clothes. Take your boots all them do. You slip them on. Oh yeah, it was always go all the time.
Pour les morts de toutes les guerres, et aujourd'hui plus particulièrement pour les morts de la Grande Guerre 1914-18, dont beaucoup de Français sont inscrits sur ce monument et dont beaucoup de combattants anglais sont dans nos cimetières, et plus particulièrement pour Freddie Weller. Je vous demande 1 minute de silence. Je vous remercie.
Oh, don't worry. I've never worried during the war. I got the military medal during the war. Oh, I didn't worry about anything. I just got it. The Menin Road is over there, where the Germans used to shell the Menin Road. And the Germans started shelling the road, and I led them out of the way. Of course, we used to carry the shells on the horse. There were 8 shells on the horse, you know, them days. We used to load up, and it was always undercover, all the shells. We used to load up, and then used to go up the road and deliver the shells to the gun position. On the Menin Road, there used to be a screen 100 yards right along the side of the Menin Road, so as if the Germans were looking, it was just fields. Because when past you got past the screen, you had to look out there because the road was shelled. And when they started shelling, of course, I led them round out of the way. I had the men and horses. I was what they call I was a guide. I was right in front of them. There's Maureen just gone by. And when I was in front of them, and I led them right out of the way, off the road. And being in charge of them, that's why I got my military medal, because I actually saved their lives, because the Germans started shelling the road. Because when past you got past the screen, you had to look out there because the road was shelled. I took things as they come, like I do now. I didn't worry about it. No, I didn't worry about it. No, I take things as they come now. I don't worry about it. I didn't worry about it then. I always said, what's to be will be. We had, tanks. Yeah, we had tanks. The Menin Road, the Germans, when they built the tank, our tanks couldn't go over them. The trench that they built had to be filled in so our tanks would go across them. Otherwise, the tanks would fall down them. Oh yeah, oh, there's a big trench that they built, the Germans, in between I forget how long that was. Oh, it was a hell of a long. The only place you could go across it was in Belgium somewhere. Oh, it was always wide. Oh, no, they didn't. It wasn't. I suppose the dugouts where the Germans used to sleep down were 50 foot down. And of course, the trouble was that some of our boys slept down there, and they lost their lives for it, because when the Germans started shelling, they filled the blooming what seems in, because they were facing the German lines that way. See, they should have been under this way, so the shells went over the top. He tried to land. I don't know when he ran out of petrol, but ground there was nothing else but shell holes, was it? As he landed, he went up. Yeah, up in the air. That was in no man's land, what we call no man's land. That was between the Germans and us. I don't know when they started shelling him anyway. He opted quick. Yeah, he was going to run away into our lines quick. Yeah. And we had a line, what they call a line layer, Graham Obden. He got killed laying the lines. He was on no man's land at the time, laying a line from the battery to the gun position. He was laying a line, and he stopped the shell on his own, old Graham Obden. And he was bald-headed, and he used to sing, "Hair, I've got that on me noddle, I don't care how's down the street or tunnel." That was his song. He used to sing that. The old Graham Obden, he was a lovely bloke, he was. And of course he got wiped out through a shell on his own. He was laying a line to the gun from the battery to the gun position. He was out on no man's land, and it was a spare shell, I think, that killed him. You know, one that wasn't supposed to be there. Of course, the Germans used to shell anywhere there, and used to shell all the different ground, you know, all the time. And that's why we used to have to dodge them as well. We always used to, in between times, we always used to know when they're going to start shelling, because they used to have a rest in between times. So when we guessed they were going to rest, that's when we went on the road. Guns that time, yeah. Well, they used to have a rest, because they never used to be shelling all the time. No. Same as we never shelled all the time. Well, I think they used to wait for the old bloke in the basket up there with the observation balloon. When they used to start shelling, then if there was any movement, if he was watching any movement, he used to tell them, and then they started shelling the same as we did. If there was any movement at all about there anywhere, in the basket up there, and they used to shell and knock him down, the same as our bloke used to knock down, and he used to bail out, parachute out. Of course, he was 80 foot up. He could use the parachute out and say, their bloke used to parachute out, get out of it quick. Because the observation balloons used to be up on the street, you know. And the aeroplanes used to come over, the old style aeroplanes them days with the wings, you know. Open wings used to fly, not like the modern day flights. But them days they used to have the old wings, you know, sitting between the wings, used to fly. They used to come and try and knock them down, which they used to knock them down, yeah. It was always a game, yeah, it was a game on our own. And of course we were on a canvas and we used to have to drop down as close as you could with the tin hat like that. On account of shrapnel falling down, because we were on a canvas, but of course as they hit the canvas it used to break the proper fall down quick, you know. So we never used to get wounded or anything like that. We used to have the gas mask in front of us, and that was always gas. And of course you had to be, as soon as it says gas, open up, you used to open up and put the old gas mask on. Oh no, we were still on the horse, yeah. We carried it in front of us all the time. It was on the line of march or anything like that, or your horses, of course, they didn't worry about that. I don't think the gas used to worry them much, the horses, they never died. No, they never died, the horses. The only thing, there was a mustard gas. The Germans used to use a mustard gas. And that would kill you as you stood up. Mustard gas, oh yes. Really? A couple of the boys died of that, standing up, yeah. Yeah, they flopped down, yeah. Mustard gas. But they did use it a couple of times. We didn't use it, no, we never used it. No, we used to use gas shells. Gas shells, the Germans used to use gas shells. And you always had the warning of anything aeroplanes had three whistles. Those three whistles, you knew you had to be careful. Then you used to have your mask ready to put on if there's any gas around. And any shells, the Germans used to shells just to get the three whistles, and all them things to give us a warning. The three whistles used to give us a warning. And most times, if you slept at all, it was all up against the wall, never using it anywhere near gas limbers, never ammunition wagons, never anything. If you was in near a church wall or anything, you'd sleep up against the wall. Oh yes, you always be careful of that sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah, watch your own life. Always remember, I lit a fire, was every jam ration, was jam rams and briskets. I was boiling some briskets up with my jam ration, and the bill was using the three whistles went, and I pedalled on and put the fire out. Yeah, that thing happened. Yeah, oh dear, that happened. Yeah. You had to be careful of anything in them days. And the worst bit about it with our Germans is the same as us. As soon as our boilers used to start lightening up early morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and if there's any flame at all, then to be careful, because the Germans used to come over, and if they see a flame at all, they just bomb it like that. And everything was sort of camouflaged for this sort of thing, because they could come over and see the field kitchens. They could shell us and bomb us as well as we could do them. Yeah, all this fear. They had to be very careful of everything them days. Yeah. Our horses were tied in between the wagons, but of course you couldn't help it when the Germans just come over, and I don't think they were ever bombed or shelled any of the horses. The only time that I remember the horses got killed, there was a line of them, the REs, and the Germans started shelling the REs over a distance away from us, and the Germans were shelling over. Right, they kept these horses on, were tied up on the line out to be shot, yeah, because they were wounded. But that was the only time that I remember the Germans were shelling. They caught these horses on the line. But of course we had on one occasion the Germans started shelling us. We were watering our horses, and of course they were long trays with the water troughs water troughs, who got to lead our horses up to the water troughs. And the Germans started shelling away from us, and we had a stampede, and our horses belted. And of course we had to go and almost fight them, didn't we? The one who upped it, they knocked us in the blooming water trough, and they were off. There were horses. My pair, I had to find them out in the field, so I remember finding them out in the field. Because eventually my mare I used to drive, she went blind. Eventually little my mare I used to drive, and I was always right under her, although she was blind. I used to have to hold her up because she was always stumbling on the rough ground, but she was a lovely little mare, she was.
Did you ever ride horses after the war?
I won the jumping competition. Yeah, I beat the horses. My two horses. I trained my rider over a 4-foot wall. And because I didn't know I was doing that, I used to try to do that at night time with nobody around. And I trained my rider over a 4-foot wall, and I beat the officers. Do 6 jumps, yeah. I beat the officers, yeah. Well, my rider, of course, she was a lovely, could off jump lovely. Yeah, we had to do 6 jumps, so I done 6 jumps. Normally that prize was 5 shillings. I got £5 for that.
That's Arash China. That's Arash China.
Thank you very much for it.
C'est nous qui vous remercions d'être venus.
Thank the mayor from us, but this is a letter from our mayor in England to Monsieur Weller here in France.
Madame vous remettre une lettre de son maire en Angleterre.
Oh, thank you very much. Dites-lui que je vais lui répondre.
Yeah, he can expect.
Yes.
When you get back, I'll tell him he'll get an answer.
Yes.
Could you thank the people of the village and the mayor on behalf of Anglia Television for making it a lovely day for us?
Il y a les gens de la télévision là, qui nous demandent de remercier vous, monsieur le maire, et ainsi que tous les gens qui sont ici, tous les gens qui ont pris part. Parce que c'était vraiment une journée spéciale pour eux. Et dans leur travail, ils envoient des drôles.
Bien.
Thank you very much indeed. I don't play them much, so that's why I don't get used to playing them. No, it's a long time since I played it, yeah. But I played all through the war. I used to play the boys in the march and all that. I used to have a big one. I haven't been back there, no, I haven't been back there. No, so it'll be an experience for me to go back there. Because I may not know Bethune and all that sort of thing, but because it's built up, there's no doubt the Menin Road and all that would be built up. We're going to try and find out where he's buried, Freddie Weller. Yeah.